Where is Eddie Alvarez going to fight next? What is going on with Eddie Alvarez? We found out the news that he has moved on from ONE. What happened there? What's his future? Where is he headed? What's he doing? Is he still fighting? All those questions and more shall be answered right here and now by Mr. Eddie Alvarez himself. Hello, Edward. How are you?
Long time, Ariel.
Where have you
Long
been?
time, man. I miss you, buddy.
I miss you too. You've been very kind of under the radars, underground, if you will, pardon the pun. You've been keeping a low profile.
Underground. I was actually considering even coming to New York, but I'm like, oh man, I don't know what the traffic's gonna be like. I would have been able to give you a hug or whatnot, but
I know.
not today.
Would have been nice. There was a time where you put in that little extra effort to come in studio to see me, but now you can't be bothered. You got your palatial estate in Pennsylvania. You can't be bothered, right? I mean, you're probably not even wearing pants right now.
I'm going to leave that to you to guess.
All right. Well, good to see you as always. Love the background. You got all the titles there. And so let's talk about your fighting future. We found out last week you had parted ways with ONE Championship. Could you tell us why? What happened there? Why are you no longer with ONE?
Well, my contract, we signed our contract and then the pandemic kind of hit. So I put a little weird little I don't want to say gray area in the contract. It was like a weird little thing that went on where there was a pause, a pretty long pause, a lot longer than what our contract, sort of, I guess, spelled out to be. But either way, um, everybody involved, like I just, more than anything, the contract kind of was coming to an end. And I spoke with Lloyd, my agent, and I was basically like, I want my fights. I would like my career to kind of finish up in the United States, like in the U.S. And when we originally sat down with ONE, the idea was to we're going to progressively move to the U.S. So like originally in the contract, we are going to be fighting in Asia, and then my idea, my plan in my head was I'm going to start in Asia, and then toward the end of my contract, we're going to move closer to the U.S. and eventually get a fight there. Unfortunately, the pandemic kind of threw a wrench in all them plans, and just slowed things up, slowed the progression of that up like a lot. So, I'm going to be more than likely signing my last contract. I just want to fight here in the United States. Like I have a really want and need to fight here in the United States and finish my career here.
Could I ask how many fights did you have left on the deal?
On my ONE deal?
Yeah.
I only had a little bit of time left, tiny bit of time left, or that was it. That was basically it.
And so, would you say this was like an amicable split, if you will? You told them you want to fight here. They seemed okay. Like, are you guys on good terms as you go your separate ways?
100%.
Okay.
I've only had bad splits with one company ever, and it was public, and everybody knew about it. And I never want to be involved in anything like that again. I never did ever since then, and I don't think I ever will. I'm an adult. I know the sport. I know the business. I try to like add value to whatever promotion I go to, and the people that I sign with, they know that, and I don't think there was never any reason to, besides the one promotion, I never had any reason to kind of butt heads with anybody.
The decision to sign with ONE a few years ago and leave the UFC was a huge deal. A lot of people didn't see it coming, and they were being very aggressive, signing American-born fighters like yourself, DJ, Sage Northcutt, all kind of at the same time. Looking back now and knowing how it played out, and of course, who could have predicted the pandemic? Who knows how their future would have turned out if there wasn't a pandemic? Maybe they would have done a few events in the States. But looking back now at how it all played out, are you happy with your time there? Are you happy with what you did? Are you happy with the decision to go over there?
Incredibly happy. When we signed it, I know more my wife was more reluctant to head back to Asia just because we fought in Asia from 2005 all the way to like 2008 in the Dream tournament, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. It was a lot. It's a lot to the time change, the being able to stay competitive through all the like having to acclimate, everything like that. So we knew it was a lot. We knew what it was going to entail, but like, you know, I got to go back to Tokyo and fight in front of my, my Japanese fans. Is something I wanted to do. Something I definitely didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to leave that hanging. I always wanted to go back to Japan and fight in front of the Japanese audience. I got to do that. I got to fight in the Philippines. I got to fight in Manila, Singapore. I got to travel to Singapore, fight there, see parts of the world I would have never seen before, fight in front of fans I would have never gotten fight in front of before, and then fight with some of the best athletes in the world. So like my time there was incredible. I got to see parts of the world that are incredible, fighting against athletes that are some of the best in the world. So like for me, it ticked all my boxes. I got paid a lot of money. I was able to invest a lot of money, and it was the perfect move at the perfect time.
Okay, so you're 38 right now, turning 39 in January. How many fights realistically do you have left?
On I don't have a
No. No,
contract.
no, no. I mean, like in you. Like, how many fights do you want to like do? Like, how many fights do you have left in here? Like, what do you think? Two more, three more, four more? What do we think?
Oh God, dude. So like that's always been a weird question for me, just because like, and I always have the same answer. Like, I never planned on doing this shit in the first place. So like, why would I start making plans now? I'm not a planner. I think plans are for schemers. So I just kind of I think I just follow my heart. I follow like I head into the training room. I see how enjoyable it is in the training room. Um, like how the rounds are in the training room against the top level guys here in the world right now. And like more than anything, gauge how much fun I'm having, like how engaged I am in the sport. And like I got to do that this summer. I got to go out to Florida. Enjoy some time with my family this summer. But I was also kind of getting ready for an August fight that never manifested. But I was getting ready for an August fight. I got to go out to Sanford, which is now Killcliff, and train with a lot of my old training partners out there. Jason Jackson, Sean Soriano, I mean, Mike Johnson was out there, Dorino, like all guys I used to train with like a while back. Got to do pads with Henry Hooft and like just kind of see some old friends. And Jason Jackson was getting ready for Lima. So I helped him get ready for his Lima fight. Got really good rounds in with him, and he's gotten so good over the years. So like just doing that, getting rounds in with like the top level guys who are still doing it and enjoying myself. And like honestly, like I'm like I feel like I need to be back in the cage and be fighting at a high level. That's exactly how I felt when I left there.
By the way, why didn't the August fight materialize?
We were just speaking back and forth this situation was still being spoke about.
Okay,
The idea of coming back to America, and because the fight ended up being on American television, but not in America.
got it.
So I was just trying to hopefully try to get a fight here in America, and that's what my head's wrapped around today. Now that like whoever I do end up signing with, I want to be on American soil. I want to be close to home, and the pandemic has brought up a lot of weird things. But like wherever you travel, there's different rules wherever you travel, and depending on what goes on during your stay there, you're subject to the rules of that
Right.
state, country, whatever it is. And it just made things like a little too unpredictable for me. I'm like, I would like to have my feet on American soil and like fight here, and in front of my friends, fans, family, and like I won't be fighting another 5, 10 years. So like I know I have years left more than like decades. So it's like I'd like to do it here in America.
So so around 8 days.
And
Yeah.
there's some really big fights here. Like, and just recently with like what just went on, there's some really big fights that are possible
Oh,
for me here
what are you
that
talking
I'm
about?
excited about.
What are you referring to?
they're just possibilities, not like there's nothing signed. I'm just saying
Yeah, yeah,
like Nate just got free,
yeah, yeah.
and I just got free. And like this rarely ever happens, but like that happened with me and Mike Chandler at a certain time, and I called Mike Chandler on the phone, and I said, "Hey, man, don't go signing with anyone. Let's walk into an office together." I think that it's more beneficial as a matchup to walk in front of a promoter together. That we'd make a lot more money doing that. So like, there's hypotheticals or opportunities like that, like here in America that can't be seen in Asia right now or be seen in other places. So like, there's a lot of big fights that could be had here.
By the way, when you pitched that to Mike, did you guys ever walk into an office together, or at least pitch someone together?
No, man, he uh he said it's a great idea to me, and I left the conversation hopeful. And then I didn't hear from him, and I heard he re-signed with Bellator.
All right.
And I'm like, well, it was discouraging. I'm like, man, I guess you gotta hope that your rival becomes your teammate at least for 5 minutes.
Right.
But no, that didn't work.
So since this news came out that you're a free man, and by the way, any strings attached here, or could you literally sign with anyone today?
I'm
You're good.
free. I'm
Okay.
free.
You're
Totally
free.
free.
That's tremendous. Since this came out around 8 days ago, what's the interest been like? Who are you hearing from? Who are we talking to? Let's figure this out right here and now. Lay it on the table for us. What do we got?
It's been almost everyone. Everyone reaching out, and me and Lloyd begin meetings. I think on the third.
Oh,
Um,
do you need me there?
we begin meet. We'll be meeting somewhere near you.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe I'll let you join in.
that'd be incredible.
Uh, I'll tell Lloyd to take a back seat and let you negotiate a
Who are you
little bit,
meeting
Ariel.
with in this area? Who are you meeting with?
I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
not sure I'm allowed to say it, but for the most part, every all the biggest names that everybody's already been mentioning have all reached out, and we have meetings with almost everyone. So,
Wow.
and I'm gonna hear everyone out, and I'm more than anything, I'm gonna hear the fans out, and I've been listening to the fans, so like keep tweeting, keep DMing me, keep because it's important to me. You know, I'm not at the beginning of my career. I'm toward the end of my career, and I would love to, I love to do what the fans want me to do, and their voice means something to me. So um, they should call out for the fights that they want, and if enough of them, if the voice gets loud enough, promoters hear it, and I'm willing to fight anyone. It's no skin off my back. Like, I'll fight anyone in the world if the fans want to put an awesome fight together against, and like you name it. Even in the UFC, like the UFC right now, um, out of the top eight, I've beaten four out of the top eight, and like three or three of them guys are in the mix in the hunt for the title, whether it's Poirier, Gaethje, or Chandler. All three of them I have wins over. Can win over them again, and they're all in the hunt for the UFC title. Even Dos Anjos is number eight,
Mm.
and I have wins over him. So like to get back in that mix is awesome. To win another American world title somewhere is awesome. To do a super fight with the new free agent who's unsigned. Aldo, I believe, is free. I believe Nate is free, and I'm sure there'll be other free guys within the next couple months that are larger names that you can do a card with. I don't know. There's just a lot of opportunity out there, and a lot of big names to make some good fights with.
Wow. Okay. So can I ask you some blunt questions? Mainly, would you be willing to go back to the UFC? Would you be open to that?
Yes,
Would you be
yeah,
Would you be open to going back to Bellator,
yeah,
despite the messy divorce that you just referenced?
yeah. My messy divorce with Bellator was with Bjorn Rebney. It wasn't with Scott Coker. Like I was freed by Scott Coker. I
Right.
was not. I was not held captive by Scott Coker. They fired Bjorn. Scott Coker took head. Then I was freed.
Right.
Um, my issue was never with Bellator the name. I had a spat with a CEO and or I had a spat with the president and that president got fired. So I'm not I don't think I have like a you're not going to mention a company and I'm going to go no, I don't think I
Okay.
as long as there's big fights involved in that company, like a bigger names and big fights, I'm probably more than likely going to say yes and leave my options open. And I think most fans, I don't think any fans that reached out to me so far was like, "Don't do this." They're like,
Right.
"Hey, what about this? What about that?"
So the one that I was curious about was obviously the PFL has been very aggressive lately in signing guys, and they've got some big plans. They're going on pay-per-view. They've got their finals in New York. They just announced that today. But I was wondering if someone like yourself, who's accomplished so much, and you're getting up there in age, would you be willing to do the whole tournament thing? Like that's a lot, and we've seen some guys come over from promotions, big names, and then afterwards being like, "Damn, this was a lot tougher. I mean, I'm fighting every 2 months here. My body's just taking a beating." Would that kind of preclude you from looking at the PFO, or would you be open to that kind of schedule?
No, I think I'm better. I think I'm better on that kind of schedule. But for the type of person I am, like I've only done 2 or 3 tournaments my whole career. I'm almost. I thought my first fight was in 2003. Where are we at now? I'm almost 2 decades.
Jeez Louise.
So like, yeah. So we're going on 20 years of chaos. So like for me, my best fighting was done, and my best my most balanced life was done inside of a tournament structure. Like I just do better there because I'm not the type of fighter who stays in the gym year round. I don't. Um, I tried it. It don't work for me. I am 100% full on focused, disregard everyone, laser focused for 3 months. No one talked to me. I ignore everyone, and then I fight, and then I do the same thing the other way. I drop everything. I don't want to fight. I don't want to train. I don't want to speak with anybody, coach, or anything about anything. I want to go with my family away somewhere, book one way, and do whatever I want. And then when I feel the energy again, I get back in the gym. So like what tournaments do is they force me to be focused for a long period of time, and I actually get a lot better and improve quickly when I do things like that.
Do you want to fight again in 2022?
Um, by the end of this year,
Tough?
it's a stretch. It's a
Yeah.
stretch. More than likely, it'll be the beginning of next.
Okay.
Where we at right now? We're in the beginning of
Yeah, October
yeah.
almost.
We're coming in October. So October, November, December. Yeah, more than likely, it's gonna be the beginning of next year.
Okay. And just curious, you've always been someone who's had great takes on the state of the business. Like, how do you feel about the state of the business? What you guys are making? You've not been shy about, testing free agency and knowing your worth and fighting for what you're worth. Like, now we're seeing Nate and we're seeing Aldo, sure. But I mean, Nate had to freaking scratch and claw his way to freedom. And Aldo just kind of, I think he had one fight left and they let him go and maybe he's on the back nine of the career. It's very rare. It's still not boxing, right? How do you feel about the liberties that you guys have, the freedom to pay, all that stuff right now, the state of the business?
I think that I would love to consult. Like I don't think collective bargaining is going to work. I don't know if it, but I would love to consult with younger fighters just to explain them the business of this sport because I don't. No one values free agency, and they don't understand the power in it. Once you've made a name for yourself, or once you've held a world title, um, and I think fighters will complain that they can't get out of a contract or they can't do this. But like, you have to remember the first day you signed that contract, you were happy with it, right? You were happy with it at some point. And now the key is to add value. Well, let's say the contract 6 fights. You have to add as much value to yourself and to that promotion during them 6 fights as possible. That way you're more valuable outside of the contract, but you have to leave the contract. You
Mm,
can't you can't allow a company to come in a fight or two before the contract and re-sign you for another 6 and 8, and you can't do that because you're killing yourself. And then I think I don't know if the resentment is toward the promotion, but it should be geared back at the manager or the fighter themselves, going, why do you keep resigning? Because your biggest value and your biggest assets, the idea of free agency and being able to get to find out what you're worth. I don't know who to blame. If I ran a business and I have multiple businesses, I don't know if I would do anything different. I would try to get my products for as cheap as possible and then sell them for as much as I can. And I think that's what the top companies do. We're the products. They try to get us for as cheap as possible, and they try to sell us to a larger audience for a lot more so they gain a profit. It's up to me, the product, to go, I need to find out what I'm worth.
Right.
Like, it's my responsibility. No one's gonna give a fuck about what I'm worth more than I should. I should care more than anyone and figure out what's my number. What's my number there, and there. That way I can I can negotiate properly for myself.
But you know how
I
it
just don't
goes.
think
You know how it goes. They say, "Oh, you want this fight? Okay, but we're gonna have to tack on, 4 more fights to this deal, right?" Like, isn't that the way it goes down quite often? "Oh, you want this big fight, or you want to renego you want this pay bump? We're gonna have to tack on." That's I mean, standard procedure, is it not?
100%. And you got to say no.
Right.
You got to
Yeah.
say no.
Yeah.
You got to say no because whatever that value is, that tack on, or whatever that value is in that fight for you, and most of the time it's not money, Ariel, it's attention.
Right.
A lot of these guys are selling themselves for attention, not money. They're getting the main event, or they're getting a more exposure in some way, shape, or form. Promotions aren't they're paying with they're paying with attention, not money. And the fighter's ego gets involved, and then they sign a deal that monetarily sucks for them, and in the long term they're not gonna make nearly as much money as what they should have if their ego didn't get involved and want that main event spot. You know what I mean? And I'm for the fighter. I'm 100%, and everybody knows that. That's why I've been a free agent so long. I'm for the fighter, but I'm also for taking accountability and responsibility in you.
Right.
And like, no one should give a fuck on earth about your value and about how much money you make than you. Not your agent, not your promoter, not your best friends, your wife, your mom. You
Right.
should care. You're walking in a cage, risking your health. You should care how much you're getting paid, and how much, and know how much you're worth.
By the way, you mentioned Nathan Diaz. That would be. I didn't really think of that. That would be something. You guys fighting under some sort of like independent banner. Do you think this is a possibility?
I don't. I mean, I don't want to get fans right up for nothing. I don't. I've Nate's been sent contracts with my name on them in the UFC for a while, and we've never got a chance to fight. I don't know if it's ever going to happen outside. I think Nate is more trying to get the Jake Pauls of the world, or like I don't know who else he has on his plate, but a lot bigger exposure than myself. But like MMA alone, and just like the MMA gods coming together in a real MMA fight. I think that'd be great for the hardcore fans, for the underground fans. But no, I don't. Do I? The likelihood of it, it'd be more likely that I'd sign it than they would.
There is this new market now with MMA fighters going over in boxing, whether it's like a Woodley, and he was in talks to fight in Dubai recently, and all this YouTube stuff. Are you interested in any of that? I remember there was a time where I think Triller was kind of talking to you about, maybe I think De La Hoya at one point. Are you interested in any of this crossover stuff?
It depends. I mean, my heart and soul is in MMA. I wanted to die there
Mm,
in mixed martial arts. But like, I do, like, just like anyone listening, I have a family. I have like, if some retarded number came across the table and I just had to look at my family and go, fuck, man, I don't want to do this, but I will, because it's gonna benefit us later on or whatnot. I wouldn't put it past me because like I train a lot of boxing. I have the best resources here in Philadelphia to train with the best boxers in the world right now. So as far as preparation, if you gave me 3 to 4 months, there's no doubt in my mind that I'd beat a lot of pro boxers or a lot of guys who think they're pro boxers in the world with the resources I have and the people I'm able to train with.
By the way, speaking of Philadelphia, I remember like, I don't know, 4 or 5-ish, maybe even more years ago, Lloyd, your agent, Lloyd Pearson, sent me a video of a young man. He's like, this is a disciple of Eddie Alvarez. His name is Joe Pyfer. You got to look out for this guy. And now we're starting to see this guy kick some ass in the UFC. You've known him, and I think you knew his dad a long time ago, right? There's something, and there's like this whole new era of guys. Sean Brady, every time I talk to Sean Brady, he sounds exactly like you. I feel like I'm talking to you. Like he says, he says Foyt, just like you. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I feel like I'm talking to Eddie Alvarez 15 years ago. It seems like there's this whole new era of guys coming up through Philly who are all kind of like from your tree, if you will.
Yeah, well, Philly MMA is so small, so like there's probably not going to be a guy that isn't from my tree. Like we were one gym or maybe 2 or 3 gyms to start in the whole area of everything. When we begun, it was Fight Factory, Balance Studios, and maybe some other ones. So like we've all are disciples of these 3 gyms that have branched out, have become, Marquez and Martinez BJJ and Balance. Like now it's gotten large, but the guys at Marquez MMA and what they're doing down here in Philly, I mean, what they're breeding and what they're able to do right now, and the guys that are in there, arguably is one of the best gyms in the world. I went there, I trained, and I train everywhere. And what's going on there is something special, man. And yeah, guys like Joe Pyfer, Sean Brady. Joe, I knew since he was 4 years old. His dad
Wow.
used to bring him in the gym. His dad used to pit him against larger kids. The kids used to fuck Joe up sometimes, and then his dad would get really mad at him and yell at him and scream. And I would I felt the stories Joe's telling,
Yeah.
it's sadly, or he dealt with a lot from a young age with fighting and his father. I love Big Joe Pyfer, but he has a big ego, and some guys try to live through their sons, and Joe had to deal with that. Little Joey had to deal with that, and he's been literally fighting at that level again with guys like me in the room since he was 4 years old. So I'm glad to see he's getting what he deserves now, and to hear Dana say beat Joe Pyfer, I mean it's a magical thing for me because I knew the kid since he was 4, and he was weird. When he says he was weird and awkward and all that, he was a fucking weird kid. He'd walk up to other little kids and just say like, "Hey, I'm gonna choke you the fuck out." Like he acted like his dad.
Wow.
Even when he was 4, he acted like he had the ego of his dad. Like he was just saying what his dad would say to people. So he would say shit that wasn't like it wasn't really socially like
Yeah.
norm. People are like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" But he was real cocky and arrogant like his father at like a 5, 6 year old age.
Wow. Yeah. What a story.
And then you
Unbelievable.
got Brady. Brady's about to
Yep.
fucking you heard it here first. Sean's gonna I mean, I love Bilal. I've always loved watching him and this and that, but Sean's gonna smash him. He's gonna smash him and take his spot. And I've never been more positive in my life. I've been high on that guy. I called Dana White directly years back and said, "Here's a guy, and he'll be your guy, and he'll win the championship."
Wow.
And he's damn near there.
Ending on you for a moment. You don't have to tell me, and maybe it's smart not to, but like, are you leaning in one direction? Is your heart leaning in one direction right now? And you're going to see how this plays out, and you're going through your own little free agency tour. But in your heart of hearts, if you had a choice, do you have a wish where you end up?
where like in a perfect world where I
Yeah.
wish I'd end up. I do, honestly like the fans would love to see a Mike Chandler 3 fight, right? And that's kind of what I've gotten on my Twitter, Instagram, everything. Everybody wants to see that fight, and that'd be great. That'd be amazing. And I'd want to fulfill that for people, and I'd want to say, "Hey, this is for you guys. Uh, let's do it. Let's make it happen." My issue is, it's, it's so much. You have to take so much less
Right.
than ever than all the other bidders. So like, I want to make that happen, but I don't want to kill myself either. So like the fans that are watching, like, hey, understand, I hear you. I want to make the big fights you want to see, but I don't want I can't take half of what everybody else is offering. I can't take a third of what everyone else is offering. So I'm open to everything, but also you gotta understand, like I'm a working man just like you are, and I'm trying to get the best deal done we can.
Okay. This is going to
But
be
no,
great.
our meetings start on the third.
Okay.
Our meetings start on the third, so they begin very soon, and then everybody's going to be able to hear where we're headed at next.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Good luck with that. Please keep us posted. If you need me at any of the meetings, I'm in the area, so I'm happy to look out for, you're in good hands with Lloyd, but if you need another ear, happy to jump in, whether it's, speakerphone, Zoom, whatever. And I'm happy to hear that you're still fighting. You're in good spirits. And I can't wait to see how this plays out. I could think of a lot of great options for you, to be honest, a little shot in the arm for a few of the up and comers. So let's see how this goes. Thank you as always, Eddie. Great to talk to you. And let's not make it 3 years until the next chat, all right? Stop being so elusive.
I'll see you, buddy.
All right. There he is, Eddie Alvarez, the underground king. What a legend he is.